What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another bunch of things. Alright, so quick update on the boat. If you are new here, I do have a John boat that is my fishing hunting boat, and I need to paint it and kind of like overhaul it, make it nice for the season. And I ordered the paint and some epoxy, and it's been forever, but I already contacted the company that shipped the paint and the epoxy, and is supposed to be here no later than Tuesday. So today's Friday. We'll see what's gonna happen. In the meantime, at work, everybody's been on a kick of eating, they bought a toaster and they've been eating sourdough bread. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to make sourdough bread, but in order to make sourdough bread, we need to have a sourdough starter. So that's what I'm gonna teach you today how to make. I'm gonna teach you how to make sourdough bread starter. So it's pretty simple. It takes some time. This is not a 20-minute thing and then you're good to go. This will take about a week. It's a process, but 2 ingredients, that's all we need, and patience and time. How I do it. There's different ways that people do it. Some are more complex than other ones. I think that this is pretty straightforward and simple. So let's go. Judgments. This is on the move. I don't know what happened with my blue apron. This is my girlfriend's apron. It's a Pioneer Woman apron, which, by the way, everything in this house is Pioneer Woman. Pioneering something. So talking about the aprons, I don't want to get dirty. I got some things to do. But if you don't know, you're new here, or you haven't some yet, check that out. I make my own merch. Okay, I make my own ammo bags, stickers, t-shirts, everything. You can go to panchothing.com and go snap you a t-shirt, sticker, whatever you like. Just go and grab one. I will highly appreciate that, since that is pretty much a straight 100% help to the channel. So just go panchothings.com, go and check it out, grab you something that you like, and I will highly appreciate it. So let me put this thing on. See what I'm saying? The thing doesn't even, what kind of apron is this? So I gotta flip you guys around so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna do the updates of the entire process through short videos. So keep an eye peeled, like and subscribe so you can see every time that I post the updates. This, as I said, this is gonna take about 7 or 8 days to get there, and then from there we're actually gonna bake a sourdough bread, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it. Here we go. Right, I'm gonna get you as close as I can without getting in the middle. So what is a starter? A starter is pretty much, if you know, or you do some baking, or you know anything about bread, at least you've heard of a leavening agent or a yeast in order to make the dough grow and make it bake your breads. The starter, what it is pretty much, is a culture that is based on fermentation, that is pretty much grabbing wild yeast or natural yeast from the element and literally creating that yeast within that culture. So that is pretty much what a starter is. Now in the case of the sourdough bread, that starter is what is gonna give you that sourness that you want. So if you have heard anything about starters, the starters that are 15 years old, 50 years old, 100 years old, hell, I think that there is even one that is still around that is like 1,000 years old starter. This thing will last forever, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the starter is the first point in order for us to do a sourdough. What are the ingredients for a starter? Easy. Flour and water. Lukewarm water. That's pretty much what we're gonna use. So the way that this is gonna go is a ratio 1-to-1, a ratio 1-to-1 of flour, whole wheat flour, and water. By weight though, not volume, by weight. So let's say that if we're gonna do 40 grams of flour, we're gonna do 40 grams of lukewarm water. So Pioneer Woman, there you go. Simple things that we need is a scale. You're gonna see that I have 2 different flours. we're gonna talk about this guy later. So for now, we're gonna leave this guy in the back. We're gonna be working first with this. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna weigh my container. You want a container to have your starter and hold it. You want a container that is big enough because this is gonna literally rise. It's gonna double in size by the time that we're done. So if you're planning on doing, I don't know, a cup of starter, do get a container that can hold at least 2 cups because it's gonna double in size. So first thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna explain why I'm gonna get this weight later. We're gonna weigh this guy. I got 1 pound and 11 ounces. I'm gonna write that down. 1 pound 11 ounces. Perfect. We are gonna weigh our flour. Grab this guy, tear it off. 0. Let's see. Pioneering. I'm gonna do about. I'm gonna weigh. I'm gonna do about half a cup or so. Let's see. Let's see how much weight that is. 3 ounces. So 3 ounces of flour. This guy, zero it out. And we're gonna need 3 ounces of lukewarm water. 3 ounces of water. So let's see. By weight. Now this is what's gonna happen. We gotta mix our 3 ounces of flour with 3 ounces of water into a paste. And then I'm gonna grab that paste, I'm gonna dump it in my container. Everything that is in here was super clean before I started. That's key. Everything needs to be really clean, just to make sure that we don't have any contaminants or anything like that. So I'm gonna grab me a fork, and I'm gonna just see if I can try to stay away out of the camera. Start mixing here my flour, my water. I want this to be really well mixed. I want it to be really soft too. So this is somewhat like a Play-Doh type of, way softer than Play-Doh. So once you mix that really well, so now I'm gonna grab that paste, I'm gonna put it right there. Okay. Sticky stuff in there. Thing. Alright, is that way? In order for this to start fermenting and doing its thing, this needs to be sitting. Open lid, you can maybe just leave the lid somewhat open, you know, just to get some air circulation. So people put cheesecloth, some people actually cover the whole thing. I like air to do its thing. But we need to keep this at about 75 to 80 degrees. We don't want this to go too cool or too hot. So, because we want that bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, to start eating up and fermenting. So, what I'm gonna do, I left my oven light on. It's off, but I turned off the light about an hour ago. So I'm gonna put this guy in there. I'm gonna leave it on for a couple hours, and then before I go to bed, I turn the light off. And tomorrow we're gonna go and check it. So once this is done, I'm gonna go through the process and what are we gonna be looking at through the next several days. So let me get this guy into my oven. Loose. Alright, so what's gonna happen? So we're gonna divide this at least in 7 days. And could be more, but 7 days at least you're gonna be doing this process. So what is going to happen is tonight that's going to sleep there, trying to keep them at the temperature that I was talking about, 75 to 80 degrees, no more than that. By 7 o'clock tomorrow in the afternoon, I should be seeing bubbles, little tiny bubbles on it, and that's gonna let me know, hey, we're doing great. Now, you're gonna hear people that they feed their starters on day number 2. We're gonna go over the term of feeding, but people feed the starters on day number 2. I don't do that. I feed on day 3 until it's done. That's just me. That's how I do it. There's other people that do it differently. They start feeding their starter on day number 2. I like to do it on day number 3. So day number 1, we do what we did today. Ratio 1-to-1 by weight. So in this case was 3 ounces of flour, 3 ounces of water. Mix it all together, really nice. The consistency needs to be pasty, sticky, but not hard. Clean containers, everything needs to be really clean. Lukewarm water, mix your stuff together, put it in your container, find out an area that is warm, let it sit there for 24 hours. Day number 2, 24 hours have passed, we're looking at our starter, what is happening. You should see signs that it's fermenting, starting to get some bubbles, some movement. Smell it, you're gonna have the yeast smell starting to develop. Let it sit for another 24 hours. Day number 3, we're talking about feeding the starter. So that's when this bad boy comes handy. You can use a regular all-purpose flour. In my case, I like the unbleached all-purpose flour. The texture is a little bit slightly different and the color is different, so I like it better that way. But you can go with all-purpose flour, not a big deal. Just make sure that it's not something that is organic or anything like that, because there might be some other bacteria in there that might not work really well for what we're trying to achieve here. But that being said, you get your all-purpose flour. We're not gonna use whole wheat flour. I'm using whole wheat flour this time. I normally do mine with rye flour, but this time around, that's an acquired taste for a lot of people. Like the whole wheat flour is a little bit more mellow, so I don't want everybody at work. I don't want to make this bread for people at work, and they're gonna be like, it's too sour. So feeding. What is feeding? Feeding is pretty much through the fermentation process, all the beneficial bacteria, all the fermentation, all the culture that is being developed is eating everything that is digestible on the flour in that process, generating that culture. So if you let it sit for too long that way without adding fresh food to it, fresh gasoline, the fermentation and the culture process starts slowing down and it stops, and you don't get what we're looking for. So that being said, on day number 3, once you open your container, you will notice that your starter has the bubbly. You might see some yellowish looking juice in there. It's called the hooch. It's nothing wrong with leaving that thing in there. Me personally like to drain it. We are ready to feed it. Now, when you see the hooch, that's sign number 1 that starter is in the point. If you let it sit longer than that, it's gonna start slowing down on the process of fermentation. So I like to reach that point. That I call it starving the starter. So I started the starter by not feeding it on day 2, but on day 3. Get that hooch out, and we're gonna do the same process that we did today. Ratio 1-to-1, warm lube water, but instead of using the whole wheat flour, we're gonna be using the all-purpose flour. So how are we gonna do it? We mix that thing, once again, separately. I don't like to add that thing and mix them together. I like to separately mix the stuff and then I add it to my container. But before we do that, we grab the weight of the container. Reason being is, we need to get 50% of what you have in there fermenting already from today. You gotta get that out and discard it. Me personally, I don't discard it. I use it always for pancakes or whatever, but you gotta discard it. The reason being is, if you remember what I said earlier, this is gonna double in size. So if you add more and more and more and more and keep doubling, you're gonna need a humongous container because it's not gonna work. Plus, you want that bacteria to age. You want that to age. You want that bacteria, that yeast, that whole culture. You want it to be nice and dandy, present, and have the right bacteria and the right culture in order for you to bake the best bread that you can. Strike 50% by weight, so you know. So it was a pound and 11 ounces. You're gonna weigh it again when we are good to go, and then you're gonna subtract your pound and 11 ounces, whatever number you got there. You're gonna get the half of that out. You subtract that out, and then you add what you just mixed new. We're gonna do that from day 3 until to day 7, day 8. We're gonna be feeding that thing daily, preferably at the same time, so it's about 24 hours. By day 7, this should be already double in size. It should be nice and dandy. When that thing is double in size and is taking the space, it's fluffy, airy, you have a lot of fluff, holes, and air inside of that thing, that fermenting smell. It's nothing potent, but you got that yeast smell. That's it. That's what you're looking for. That's when you stop feeding it. And at that point, you can bake and also refrigerate your container. Now, through this time, you gotta keep it, once again, 75 to 80 degrees. Keep your container open. Let it do its thing. This is a commitment thing, guys. This is a commitment thing. Once you do your starter and you decide that you're gonna refrigerate it, you gotta feed it once a week. Otherwise, it's gonna die. It's gonna go stale. It's gonna die. It's not gonna work for baking. So one of the things that I do, me personally, that will not work straight from the refrigerator. Night before is my day to feed it. I take it out, leave it closed. Just take it out, feed it as usual. Take 50% out, feed it as usual. Put it back in the refrigerator. Good to go. I like to give it at least 12 hours for it to feed, and then to the refrigerator. Simple and straightforward. So that will happen around day 7, day 8. Now, I've seen it go to 12 days, but that's not a common thing. Once we reach that point, then we're gonna do another long video. I'm gonna show you how I bake my sourdough bread, which I do it quite different than most people, but that's my thing. That's how I do it. So at that point, I'll show you what's happening. I'm gonna be doing the progress day by day. I'm gonna load them as a short video. So you probably wanna be subscribed, like the videos, maybe get the notification bell so you know when I upload these little short videos. One thing that I forgot to mention, if you know people that will commit to this and will like to bake and like to make their own pastas and pizzas and whatever, that part of the starter that you're discarding, you can actually start another starter with that and feed it and do the process. So you don't discard it. If you have somebody that you know that will be down to do that, just make them get you another container. They can provide you with another container. Give him my starter when he's ready to go, you know, so you don't waste the product. But there you go. That's how you make sourdough starter. Plain and simple, 7 to 8 days, top 10s, easy, great bread, nicely done, and more importantly, you know exactly what you're putting into it. So thank you so very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell so you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. And I will see you in the next one. See you on those short videos, and then I will see you completely with another video, but at that point baking, when this is all said and done. Pancho!